Hi, third graders. Today I'm going to teach you how to write a lowercase cursive K. Just like the letters I wrote on my whiteboard, a lowercase k starts with an undercurve. Make sure you have a whiteboard or blank piece of paper for practicing shape first, and also a blank piece of lined cursive paper for when you're ready to move on, just like this one here. Here's K. K is made up of a lot of strokes. Undercurve, loop back, up and over curve, undercurve. That's your lowercase k. So it starts like an F, an H, a B, and an L, but it has an up and over curve in addition. Undercurve, loop back, pull back to the bottom line, up and over curve, undercurve. Undercurve, loop back, pull back, up and over curve, undercurve. Undercurve, loop back, pull back, up and over curve, undercurve. That is your lowercase k. Boys and girls, remember to sit up nice and tall because posture matters. And if you're right-handed, tilt your board or your paper to the right. And if you're left-handed, tilt it towards you this way. This gives you an automatic slant. I like using blank paper or whiteboard to practice, especially with some of the trickier letters like a K, because you can make the letters big until your brain remembers the shape. So I'm going to show you a big one here. Undercurve, loop back, up and over curve, undercurve. Now, it's a really good habit to practice the K a bunch of times in the air with your finger. Undercurve, loop back, pull back, up and over curve, undercurve. Trace it with your finger too. Undercurve, loop back, pull back, up and over curve, undercurve. Do that a few times before you move on to line paper. Just practicing K by itself on a blank sheet of paper or a whiteboard if you have it helps your brain remember shape. Remember, everyone learns, just not in the same way and not on the same day. So practicing it in the air with your finger, with your fingertip on a surface, and also saying the words of each stroke will help you remember shape. Here's a piece of blank lined paper. We're ready to move on to lined paper if we practiced K all by itself and are comfortable with the shape and the slant. The lines help us practice size and also spacing. So let me show you a row of K's on lined paper. Watch carefully. I'm being careful and writing slowly. Undercurve, loop back, pull back, up and over curve, undercurve. Now I'd like you to make a noticing as I zoom in a little bit so you can see up close. That up and over curve is completely under the midline. Now Mrs. D would say this isn't her best K because that didn't come all the way to the bottom line. But watch again. Let me try again. Undercurve, loop back, pull back to the bottom line, up and over curve, undercurve. That one's better. Undercurve, loop back, up and over curve, undercurve. Undercurve, loop back, up and over curve, undercurve. So take a look, because I'd like you to get into the habit of circling your best work. Now remember, size, shape, and slant. We're not going to worry about spacing right now because this is just K by itself. Which do you think is my best size, shape, and slant? I think that this one is the best one on that line. I'd like you to get into the habit of checking your own work size, shape, and slant. Let's try some joinings. 2-letter and 3-letter joinings give you an opportunity to practice uniform spacing and uniform slant. So I'm going to write a few. You practice too. Take a look. If you noticed, I wrote K-E, K-I, E-E-K, and I-K-E, you're right. Those are all 2 and 3-letter joinings. Really important to practice joinings. I'm going to show you some joining mistakes. I'm going to write E-E-K again. I'm wondering if you can pick out my mistake. So take a look. This is the first time I wrote E-E-K, and this is the second time. Well, the size is right. It's between the midline and the bottom line, and my K does go to the top line and ends at the midline. But if you notice, the problem here is that I don't have a uniform slant. By uniform slant, I mean there's the same slant on each of my letters. Uniform slant helps your writing be legible or readable to the person who's reading it. So this E is slanted the right way, but this E is backwards, and so is this K. You want a uniform slant. E, E, K. Uniform slant. All of my letters are spaced evenly, but they're slanted the same way. That takes practice, boys and girls. So please practice your uniform slant today. Let's try 2 words, and then we'll wrap it up, and I'll show you some common K mistakes. Here's the first one. And here's the second one. If you said bike and week, you're right, and you're getting very good at reading cursive. Before we go, let me show you a few K mistakes that are common and you to watch out for. Use the right way to write a K. And here's a common mistake. Size, shape, or slant. If you said shape, you're correct. And the problem is a loop here. Undercurve, pull back, up and over curve, and then undercurve. No loop in the middle. That's one. The most common one I see, though, is the same one I see sometimes on an F and an H. Undercurve, and then I see this. That's a mistake. This won't happen to you if you tell yourself, pull back with your pen. Undercurve, loop, pull back. Up and over curve, undercurve. This one is correct. So watch out for this mistake. And this mistake happens when your pen goes, this way instead of this way. Just like we did in the F video, you might, if this happens to you and this is a mistake that you're making, you might have to just practice a lot of times telling yourself, undercurve, loop, pull back. Undercurve, loop, pull back. Undercurve, loop, pull back. Undercurve, loop, pull back. Okay? This is really good practice for the mistake that happens when you do this, a K that looks like this. This is the most common mistake that I see. So make sure you watch out for that. Okay, third graders, we love to see how your cursive is coming along. So take a picture and send it to your teachers. See you tomorrow.